I made the decision to do something for myself. Even if it's not getting another job, you can still wake up an hour early and do something for yourself. Maybe it's going for a walk. Maybe it's just having a slow morning. I know a lot of people nowadays, especially like in high population areas, everything's really go go go. You have a schedule, you have times, you constantly have to be places. What that can do for you
Yeah.
is it makes you feel like somebody else is controlling your life. Someone's expecting
Mm.
you here. Someone's telling you to be like those kind of things run in the back of your mind. But if you take that hour, you get to decide what to do with it.
Okay, we're live. Hi, Anna. It's so nice to see you here today. I've been super excited for having this interview, and I can just let you introduce yourself first.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I've been looking forward to this as well. And yeah, a little bit about me. I'm a certified life coach and I help professionals navigate career transition without hitting burnout. It's something that I experienced myself for many, many years. And what I want is to dedicate my business and my coaching to helping my clients master their mental, their emotional, and their physical well-being. And those are the three pillars of burnout. So touching on each of them makes sure that we can avoid that burnout in more than just one way. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that sounds so amazing. I'm so glad
Thank
that you're doing that because I have a lot of people in my area that have been struggling with just that.
you.
So I know it's definitely needed. So thank you for
Mhm.
what you're doing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I know
Yeah.
you as well as I have been, like on this journey of finding our path. How do you feel in the moment now about your self-discovery?
That's a good question. It's always like I'm always learning something new. And I think before I became a coach, that scared me. Like I loved learning, but I didn't want to do anything with what I was learning. And it's interesting because I had a coach say, turn what you learn into what you do. Because I used to get stuck in this cycle of like, learn, 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 learn. I love learning. This is great. This is great. But my life was staying the same because there was a part of me that didn't want anything to change.
Yeah.
So where I'm at now with my journey is like, I'm constantly learning, but right after I learn something now, it's like, okay, how can I do this more? What can I do with this? How can I incorporate this in my life? And my life is constantly changing. We were just
Yeah.
talking about, even the people that we're helping and coaching, like even those people are changing because we're starting to open new doors and we're discovering new things. So you meet new people that have different things that they need. So yeah, my I'd say I'm constantly learning and it's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And I resonate with that a lot because we also learn from our clients a lot. That's what I've realized
Hmm.
that for every client, I learn something new about myself and about what I want and does not want to work with. So it's really like this whole learning experience, and I don't think it's gonna end. Like I
No.
think it's gonna keep going.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
it's interesting. There's this, I think I read it somewhere or I heard somebody say it, but it went that the only constant thing in life is change. So the more
Yeah.
you get comfortable with things changing, the more you'll be able to, have gratitude for your life and for the people in it and just like everything that's going on around you. I think a
Yeah.
lot of us can get stuck in like this, I don't want it to change, and we start resisting it, and then it starts
Mm.
happening more, and it's like, oh my God. So
Exactly.
yeah.
And that's always the scariest part too, because when we're not when we don't feel ready for it,
Mhm.
we're like trying to resist it so much. But like you
Yeah.
say, it's gonna come anyways. And maybe it's gonna come even harder because we're trying to like
Yeah.
like
We're so
back off.
focused on it. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
please share, lately, what has been your biggest like learning or
Mm.
biggest change?
Mhm. Mhm. My voice. Like
Mm.
having a voice, using my voice, being comfortable sharing things. I always felt like I had to be quiet and like silent because I didn't want to like affect anybody or
Yeah.
cause a change in their, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I don't want to say the word trigger is a little bit hard, but I never wanted to like use my voice and like say something that would hurt someone, or
Mm.
it's very strange. And throughout my life, I've been told I have a really unique sounding voice. And so anytime someone would say like, oh, I love the way your voice sounds. In my head, it was just like, oh my God, they hate your voice. And I don't know why that was the trigger. I think it's from some like the first time someone maybe commented on it, it was very negative. So now anytime someone commented, it was bad. But even in a job, I had a boss that said, when you talk, people listen. And
Mm.
what my brain did was, well, if people are listening, I better stay quiet. And
Mm.
it was just this theme of constantly quieting myself and not saying what I wanted to say and not speaking up and speaking quietly if I was talking. And what I'm going through now, the biggest change is using my voice in as many ways as possible.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to write a book. That's part of using your voice. You're sharing your message. I'm getting on a stage in Las Vegas at the end of September and speaking to 500 people in a room. I'm using my freaking voice. My
Yes.
podcast, like having a social media platform. There's all these different things. And one of the most recent ones is I've been looking into like voice talent. Like how can I use my voice in like maybe like a voiceover movie? I'm just so curious
Yeah.
now about how I can use my voice more. Which is like a total 180, but that's I'd say the biggest thing I'm going through right now. Oh, and I'm so excited.
I see that on you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that. That sounds so, what a nice transition going for like
Mhm.
being silent and not feeling the courage to use your voice because you have
Mhm.
felt these like outside negative comments about it. And I
Mhm.
understand that too, that when we hear some negative, we expect all of the rest of them to be negative too. So it's hard to see that it may be positive. But what a
Mhm.
transition to go from that to now feeling like you want to use your voice in everything because you realize that your voice is probably your biggest power. Like you can
It is.
communicate, you can tell stories, you can tell about your life and about your profession and about your everything that it
Yeah.
matters for you. It's super cool, and like congratulations on having that like empowerment of just
Yeah.
taking charge of something that used to be your um kind of like, I don't
Kryptonite
know,
almost.
I don't know. Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, yeah. No, because I feel and I like that word, like it felt like my kryptonite. And it felt like if anybody said anything about my voice, I was going to break. But
Yeah.
I was actually thinking about this the other day when I was just doing dishes, and I'm constantly thinking about the talk and how I can like it's like my focus now is how can and it's so strange. I never
Yeah.
used to think about it, but I was sitting there thinking, isn't it crazy how it doesn't really matter what other people say?
Yeah.
The only thing that's going to run true is what you actually believe. So someone telling me that they love my voice or they think it's so unique, I should
Mm.
create a career using it.
Mm.
I believed that that person didn't actually think that because I
Yeah.
didn't like my voice. And so it's if whatever you focus on is what you are going to believe to be true, because now people tell me that I have a unique voice and I'm just like, that's why I'm doing this. Like in
Mm.
my head I'm just like, I know I
Mm.
do. Right. And it just takes one person. I remember when I had that switch, it like brought me to tears, but I was in the life coaching program and Medina said to me when I was speaking, she couldn't see my thing on the Zoom call. She couldn't see my face, but she said, "Who's talking?" And then I was like, "Oh, not again." Like I shouldn't have said anything. And she said, "Whoever's talking right now, you have a really powerful voice and you need to use it everywhere." And that like in front of 30 other people, it was like, oh my God, she's like showing everyone my weakness. But she was telling me how strong it was. And that night I posted my first social media video. Like it was so powerful for me.
Yeah. I
So
remember you telling me this. I
yeah,
remember this.
yeah. It's so
Wow.
ingrained. It's ingrained because it was like one of the biggest transformations, and it was like the smallest thing that someone could have said to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like we also decide what power we put in other people's words
Hmm.
when we hear them. And I think that at that point you were ready to hear something like that because throughout the school, maybe you got your own. I don't know what you found in the school, but I know I found definitely like courage. I found confidence too. And if you found something similar to that, then maybe you were ready to hear that at that point and you didn't take it as you may have taken it like 1 year ago
Hmm.
or something like that. So it's so cool to hear you say this. And I feel like this is like a typical fearless women thing to be like, okay, you had a fear there, but
Hmm.
like one good thing, one little signal, and you just turn that around. And then you start, I saw you publishing like videos and you were
Yeah.
speaking, you were showing your face. And I was like, wow, she's so brave. I wasn't there yet. I was still, hiding a little bit. And just seeing like the growth that you and I and lots of people from the schools had is it's amazing, really.
Yeah, thank you. And I just wanted to say that I see it in you too, because we have these meetings, every couple of months, and
Yeah.
even watching your social media, I can see your courage coming out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for
you're a
sure.
fearless woman too.
Thank you. No, for sure. It's it's been a long journey. And I think that just like becoming yourself more and more for every step you take is is what is bringing forward this courage and just
Yeah.
feeling that it doesn't matter what I post because not everyone is gonna like that, not everyone is gonna approve of that. But if I like start thinking about, oh wait, who will like this, who will not, and just instead of posting what I like and what I relate to, I think then you'll find your people, you'll find the people
Hmm.
that is drawn by that, not the
Yeah.
people that will be like, oh no, what is this? Because they will not follow me if they think that way.
Yeah.
So I think that's,
Yeah.
I like, at least for me, I've had this like feeling that the people following me. That's why, like, I can take this. So that's why I changed from a my personal Instagram account and made a new one when I started,
Hmm.
because I realized that I was super afraid of what the people in my like personal one would think. I was like, no, they will judge me so much and they will this and this and this. And I'm like, but why would they be there if they didn't like who I was? So I don't know,
Yeah.
like I realized that we do have lots of fears,
Oh,
and
yeah.
maybe today I would have made a different choice, but I'm still happy with the choices that I did
Yeah.
make because it taught me a
Yeah.
lot.
I actually I'm really glad you brought that point up because I think we talk about fear and like what are people going to think? That is something that is it's so present everywhere you look because we
Yeah.
have so much access to what other people are doing now with
Yeah.
the phones, social media, right? And that was even a thing that I went through. I didn't use my personal account either. I made a new one
Yeah.
because there's this thing that I've been stuck with for so long, and it's being okay with, not being accepted by people from my past. There was this huge fear about like, oh, what are they going to think? What are they going to think? Well, where I'm at now, it doesn't really matter because I want to share the things that I believe will help people. I don't want to
Yeah.
share the things that I think they want me to share. You know what I mean? And like
Yeah.
I've taken a break from social media actually in the last, it's probably been a month. I don't know, the time goes by a lot faster than I think,
Yeah.
but I'm because I'm finding my new voice and I'm figuring out what I want to say and I don't know how I want to say it yet. So I've left that space for myself to just explore this part of me, and I think when I come back it's going to be a completely different, like I'm going to seem different, but I don't know. I don't even know. Like I can't even speak to it. I think the way I share my message is going to be different, but I think it's going to
Yeah.
impact more people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think
Hmm.
I think that's so sorry, were you done? I didn't want to
No,
interrupt.
yeah, no, I was just like sitting with it, I was like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. I love hearing you process this too while you're saying it, like while you're speaking it, you're processing it as well. And it's so
Yeah.
cool to see that in you as well, because I agree. like the more you come into like tune with what you're doing and what you want to be doing and stuff, the more that's going to mirror into the work you put in and the work you put out. So yeah, it's definitely true. And I was actually gonna ask you about that with the Instagram accounts and like changing and stuff. Um, what was the reason for you? Was it the same as me, or did you have another? Because I've heard different stories from different people, and it's always something, and it usually has to do with judgment.
100%. Yeah. It's interesting because I think about this a lot and I always think, why didn't I use my personal account? Why, and there's part of me that goes, I'm gonna switch back. I'm just gonna make a
Yeah.
post on my coaching one and I'm gonna combine them because there's a part of me that wasn't ready for people to see the coaching side of me because I don't think I
Yeah.
had fully accepted that I was doing that. It's strange. Like when you switch from being like corporate, you're working in management, you're working in mostly male dominated places. You went to school, you got the degree, you got the job, and then you left the job and you went completely the opposite direction and got
Yeah.
certified as a life coach. And you went on this spiritual, emotional journey. It
Mm.
was it was hard for me to accept that other people would accept like it was other people would accept me. There was something that I couldn't wrap my head around because I hadn't fully let myself be that person. And
Yeah.
so when I think about the account, I didn't want people to know
Mm.
if and it's even weird to say that because I've never said that out
Yeah.
loud, but I wasn't ready for people to know that I was a life coach. And I've ran into people from, high school or my past, and they're like, "Oh, what are you doing now?" I go, "I'm a life coach." And those same people that I didn't want to know, they look at me and they go, that's the perfect job for you." And I'm like, what? Like, you think that? Like, so that,
Yeah.
and it's crazy because somebody from 5, 10 years ago saw
Yeah.
something and they're like, oh yeah, I could see that, and I'm sitting there like, really?
Yeah.
But it's just this, and that's what I say, like, that's my own fear made
Yeah.
me, well, I made a choice based on it, right? I was choosing something out of fear.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of where and then now I'm just like, what's the difference? If I'm a life coach, and I'm still somebody who enjoys the same things I enjoy. Like I'm still the same person. I don't need two different
Yeah.
faces, masks, whatever
Mm.
you want to call them.
Yeah.
So, but then there's another layer. There is another layer of like, I want to have a space specifically for my business where I can share those things more. And then but I want them both to be me, the same me.
Mm.
Just one is my business and one is things for people who I know more on a personal level, you know?
Mm.
So yeah, I fight myself on like, do I do it? Do I not? Do I do it?
Yeah.
Do I not?
Yeah. I relate to that crazy
Yeah.
much. Like the last thing you said too about like wanting to separate business and then personal life, but also a lot about just feeling, that uh how to say that. I felt the same way as you. So I was thinking that like what will the people that know me think? Like what will they think? What
Mhm.
will they say about it? Like will they like think that, oh wait, like what, who's she trying to be and stuff? And
Mhm.
that thing held me from even telling, like, I wouldn't say that I was going this course to anyone, only my
Yeah.
closest family. I was just like, whenever I posted like stories of me studying, I was just like covering up the picture because I didn't want anyone to like see a hint of what I was studying. And I remember just being like, when people asked me, I didn't want to say yet that I was studying to become a life coach because I was like,
Mhm.
no, because then what if I don't graduate or something happen? I was so, I think, scared of letting people see that maybe I failed.
Mhm.
And the same when I was like already like finished and like graduated. It took a couple of months before I even like published that. I didn't want to celebrate with anyone because I didn't want anyone to like give me like the side eye or something like that. I don't know why I had so many fears around that. And then I didn't want to share when I made my new Instagram. I didn't want to share that on my regular Instagram because I was like, I'm gonna share it when I have lots of followers and stuff, so that people can
Mhm.
see that it's not a failure, it is a success. Like, oh, I don't know why I felt that way. And then one day that just changed, and I was like, this is so stupid, but I understand it's valid because it is a fear that I have.
Mhm.
But why am I doing this? And if I'm trying to become better and improve, I can't like submerge to my fears all the time. I need to,
Mhm.
start doing it, maybe small steps at a time. And those small steps just like led to bigger and bigger and bigger. So yeah, I just totally relate to what you're saying. And I think most coaches did too in the beginning. It was hard. It was
Yeah.
really like taking this big step to be
Yeah.
more brave when it
And it's
came to
part of
that.
the process too. And I just want to acknowledge you sharing that, because even saying that out loud, it's not easy to like go back however many months ago that was.
Yeah.
Maybe it's 4 months, maybe it's a year, right? Whatever.
Yeah.
But going back to those places where you felt so like small,
Yeah.
you took that one little step and then it made you feel bigger. Like
Mm.
and we're stepping into a completely new role, something that we never
Yeah.
pictured for ourselves. And I think, like, for me, I just wanted to add to the what we're doing. I have
Mm.
something written on my wall. I have these three affirmations. That one of them is inspire other people by going first.
Yeah.
It's very hard to do. And I think, as just while you were sharing, I was like, the people around us, nobody in my family has ever done this. Life coaching is still pretty new. No
Yeah.
friends that I have done this because it didn't exist then. And I think that adds another piece of like nobody has done this before. And there are other coaches that have succeeded, and they're growing, but it's not, there's nobody close to us, right? You have your mom who's maybe a lawyer, you have your dad who could be a dentist, like whoever. Like, this is something that's completely different, and it's hard to explain what it
Yeah.
is when other people haven't gone through it. I think that even adds to the animosity of like, "Oh, I don't want to tell anyone because how do I explain why I'm doing this?" And the answer there is like, you don't actually have to.
Yeah.
You don't have to
Exactly.
explain why,
No.
you
As
know?
long as you know your why, that's the
Yeah,
most important thing. Yeah.
yeah,
And that's
yeah.
also something that came with the whole self-development, learning that we
Hmm.
don't need to explain ourselves to everyone. It's like if it relates to us,
Yes.
then that's the thing that matters. Do what you feel is right, not what someone else will think or like
Yeah.
care about it.
Hmm.
But yeah, I also wanted to ask because I know we talked about this before. When it comes to niches and wanting to change, I wanted to know the background again, like the background in your niche
Yeah.
as life coach. Yeah.
Yeah. Burnout. Oh, burnout. Burnout's a big one. I think a lot of people experience it. And I know I mentioned when we got on here, I experienced burnout for 4 years at like my first career job. And it was the dream, right? Went to
Yeah.
school, got the education, got the
Mm.
job, checking off all the boxes, but I was miserable.
Yeah.
I, the first 6 months to a year, it was great because I'm learning. I love learning. Everything's new. And after that first year, things started to settle. And
Mm.
then you kind of become a part of something. And that was, oh man, everything just started getting, it was like the more you did, the more they wanted. The more you did, the
Mm.
more you wanted. The more you told them
Yeah.
that, like, I remember I was 19 when I got that job.
Mm.
And I started at like an entry level production planner thing, and I worked there for 5 weeks, and they promoted me to project manager, which was a huge salary jump. And I was in charge of like $16 million, just like boom, here.
Mm.
And I was like, whoa, now I'm learning how to talk to trades. I'm learning how to build restaurants. I'm learning how to have a manufacturing run go. And like we had to be in charge of everything. And it was really good to learn. But I knew that I was gonna burn out because I hadn't yet learned everything well enough to know what to do. And I was like, you're pretty much alone because the
Yeah.
company was so busy. I'd ask for help and there was no help to be given because everyone had their own things they were trying to manage. So it was
Mm.
like, I'm telling these people that I'm burning out, and I'm telling them that, I'm looking into the future, and I'm seeing that we're probably going to lose money. And it was just kind of like, oh, well, try your best. So I was like, oh my God. So that I'm still responsible for it, which is fine because it came with the job, but that's how it started.
Yeah.
Take that for 3 more years. I remember sitting at my desk, just like, I'd be zoning out. 30 minutes later, I'm like, whoa, how long was I sitting there for? Like it's almost like I was
Oh.
numb. And
Mm.
that's the thing with burnout. It makes you feel numb.
Yeah.
You don't really know. Like there's like this, you start to question your identity. And
Mm.
there's this piece of like, it's almost defeat because you know how well you used to do the job and you don't know why you can't do that right now.
Mm.
You don't know why you, the same person, is no longer capable of doing the same things and having the same feeling
Mm.
of like rewarding, achievement, accomplishment. Like there's no motivation. You're pretty much like
Mm.
burnout. You're literally burnt out. It's like a match that lost its flame. That's the easiest
Yeah.
way to describe it. And going through that at such a young age, like that was me from 19 to 23. Like I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, like no way this is the rest of my life. There's no way. But I was kind of like, but where else am I gonna go? I'm stuck.
Mm.
So that's another big one. If you're burnt out, feeling stuck, like
Yeah.
you don't know where to turn. And the problem I see with burnout is it starts in the workplace and it
Mm.
trickles into every other part of your life.
Yeah.
Starts to affect your personal relationships, your family dynamic, your friendships, like your experience and your quality of life goes down a lot.
Mm.
That's something I experienced, and then I found fitness coaching, which is so interesting how all these coaching things are coming up because I got certified as a personal trainer through COVID and I started doing that. I was waking up at 4:30, 5 in the morning. I would coach 2 classes and then I'd go to my full-time job where I was burnt out.
Mm.
But the burnout didn't have as big of an impact on me because I had already done something for myself and I helped somebody
Mm.
else in the gym and I helped somebody reach their goals. And I did that for about a year. And that transition of like, okay, I need to do the coaching thing, that saved me in the end.
Mm.
Because it helped me see that there was a way out. There was another door. It was kind of like a window was cracked open
Mm.
and I was looking through the window while I was still in this room over here and then I got
Yeah.
to finally step out of it. But
Yeah.
yeah, wow. Hmm.
How would you say you got out of it? It's such a like I love hearing the story. So nice.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, that was a long story, but the way it's interesting. The way that I see it is I had to choose to do something different. It's
Mm.
when you're going through burnout, you feel alone. You
Mm.
feel like nobody understands what you're feeling. And oftentimes the people around you, maybe they don't know how severe it is, but they might be able to relate. But it doesn't matter because when you feel alone, you kind of feel like it's the end. I don't know how
Mm.
else to like describe it. What I came down to for me is I made the decision to do something for myself. Even if it's not getting another job, you can still wake up an hour early and do something for yourself. Maybe it's going for a walk. Maybe it's just having a slow morning. I know a lot of people nowadays, especially like in high population areas, everything's really go, go, go. You have a schedule, you have times, you constantly have to be places. What that can do for you
Yeah.
is it makes you feel like somebody else is controlling your life. Someone's expecting
Mm.
you here. Someone's telling you to be like those kind of things run in the back of your mind. But if you take that hour, you get to decide what to do with it. You can
Mm.
do anything. You can sit on your couch for 45 minutes before you go to work and have a coffee.
Yeah.
You can make yourself a nice breakfast. You can get another job. Like there's so many things. So I think what it comes down to is doing something for yourself the first thing you when you wake up.
Mm.
Whatever it is. You have to decide to wake up early and then decide you can do whatever you want with that time.
Yeah. No,
That's what
for
I'd
sure.
say. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you're saying, I think that we are in more control than we think we are.
Mm-hmm.
And like this story that you just told really like brought me back to like younger me having so much like resentment towards Stockholm,
Mhm.
because I was like, this bubble of stress. Everyone is stress focused on
Mhm.
success. No one is like looking up from their phones, enjoying their surroundings. Just like I just felt like this bubble of stress everywhere. Life was so going so fast. You could just like see that people are losing focus on now. People are just like
Mhm.
focusing on the future and like getting there. And when they get there, they're focused on the next future, like of getting
Yeah.
there. And just I remember that stressing me so much. And I told like everyone in my surroundings, I'm never gonna like live here. I'm gonna move abroad, like move to Australia or somewhere else, like to Greece or something. And today I have a totally different perspective of it, because I realized that I was in so much stress at that point that I could only see the stressed. I could only see the people like me, and I was judging, but I didn't realize that I was also one of them. I was also the one
Mhm.
stressing so much about my future. What was I gonna do next? And it like took me like 2 years maybe to go from like graduating high school to starting this life coach thing. And between that, I was just working, like working and working, and didn't like get any fulfillment at all in my
Yeah.
jobs. And I was just during those 2 years like traveling, but also a lot of like stressing. I hate coming home from a trip, because when I came home, I came back to reality of like facing
Mhm.
what I was there with. And that was my crazy life crisis kind of like what I want to do with my life, and hearing the pressure, you should go to school, this. And my family's been super supportive, but you can always feel the pressure, not only like people telling you stuff, but seeing on social media how everyone
Mhm.
is succeeding, and you just comparing yourself to that. And I don't know, I'm just like, now I'm just splurging, but I just really related to what you said about just like all the outside noise and all the things that is going on. And sometimes when no one else can see you and understand you, maybe you need to go inwards and like see
Mhm.
yourself and understand yourself. And like no one is going to do the job for you. So for you to feel better in your surroundings, you got to put in the job. And that is
100%.
something that was super hard for me to realize, because I just wanted someone to come in and fix my life.
Yeah.
And then I realized that I am that person. I need to learn how to do that and then do that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's
Yeah.
just, yeah.
It's huge. It's huge. I think I think if I could like shorten the answer I gave to like what did I do? I like like I said, it's easy to feel alone. And I
Mm,
resonate with what you're saying too, because we don't want to face it. Like
mm,
you don't want to look yourself in the mirror and admit all the things that you could be doing better or that you want to change, but that's the only way to do it.
mm,
You have to look in the mirror and say, I can do something about this.
mm.
Not look at all these problems I have to fix, but I can do something about this. I'm in the situation.
Yeah.
I'm here because I put myself here, and I'm the person that's going to get me out of it. And then how you do it is up to
Mm,
you. You can design it. Like I said, you can get up an hour early. You don't have to do that. You can get a new hobby. You can switch jobs. Like it's endless. We don't realize how many opportunities we can create when
mm.
we just start like opening our minds to it.
Yeah.
That's and I love what you said too when you look around and see who's actually around you. Typically we notice the people that are similar to us first, but there's so many other people.
Mm,
So many
yeah.
other people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
No,
this
like,
is great. This is
yeah.
I love this conversation. I think the theme of who am I is woven into everything we've talked about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
And like you're saying too, like for example, today when I walk, like when I go around in Stockholm, what I see now is the people sitting in cafes and just
Yeah.
having a coffee with their friends. And I see the people that are like tanning on like a little grass, like plate of grass in the middle of the city chaos. They're just like tanning there because they live up in the apartment of like
Yeah.
right there in the center of every like car and stuff. And like they just find their peace. And now I
Yeah.
see that because I have like found that. I'm not going to say that I'm like completely done. And I've said this in previous interviews too. I'm never going to be completely done. We're always evolving. But just seeing how different I see stuff now because I'm open to seeing it. And I am
Mhm.
more willing to see it too because I've experienced the change myself. That you
Yeah.
don't have to live this like fast-paced life
Mhm.
and just like, I don't know, like you can find your peace. Yeah, you just have to be
Yeah.
willing to do it. Yeah, and put in the work.
Oh, I love that. You just have to
Yeah.
be willing to do it. I think that's the hardest part, but it's the most rewarding.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
hard, I will say this, hard things do not have to be a struggle. I heard
Mm,
that from one of my mentors. Just because something is hard doesn't mean it can't be fun.
mm,
And I think a lot of us get stuck on, oh, it's so hard to do that. Yeah, but you
mm.
don't have to struggle through it. It can be hard, but you can have fun learning the hard thing and doing the hard thing. You just
Yeah,
you have to be willing to do it. I love that.
exactly.
I love that.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so true. I would love to hear now for the people that are listening, what tips do you have if they now resonated with what you said and feel like I think I am burned out. I haven't noticed it before, or maybe they have noticed it, but they just don't know what steps to take. Do you have
Mm-hmm.
any tips for them?
Mm-hmm. I got lots. Um, yeah, it's very hard. The thing I struggle with tips, especially with burnout, is because it's such an isolating thing, it's hard to say, get up and go talk to somebody. It does
Mm,
help. Getting up and whether it's a friend, whether it's a partner,
mm,
whoever it is, somebody you trust for sure. Maybe it's a life coach, maybe it's a therapist, whoever you feel comfortable. It is hard to let yourself feel vulnerable and talk about what you're going through because you feel alone and you feel like nobody's going to understand you.
yeah.
We understand. There are people out there. So the first tip I'd say is speaking to someone. If that is not something that you're ready for or you're comfortable doing,
Mm,
sit and sit with yourself. And I know the word meditation freaks some people out, but meditation is such a powerful tool. And for some, it's a way of life. Waking up every
mm,
day and meditating, what you're doing, even if it's 5 minutes, is you are sitting and spending time with yourself. All those thoughts you have running through your mind, they're running through your mind because they're trying to catch your attention, but you're always a little bit ahead of them. Like
yeah.
that's the way I see it when I used to have thoughts like that. I don't anymore because when I meditate, I'm giving them time for me to see them. Like I'm making time to see all these things that are like if you're burnt out, you might be like, why am I feeling like this? Why is this job so hard? Why does this happen to me? I can't do anything about it, right? All of these things, your mind is trying to like tell you something. So I'd say give yourself some time to listen
Mm,
because when you do, even giving your brain that space will ease the mental burnout you're going through.
yeah.
Yeah. Those are my two tips.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I
Yeah.
think for someone who is struggling right now, those two tips is really impactful
Hmm.
because I know as well, like when we are struggling with something, our first like kind of like a challenge is just figuring out what to do next.
Hmm.
And as soon as we do something, it feels like all the other steps coming afterwards is easier. But for
Yeah.
me, the hardest part is always taking the first step because I feel so
100%.
overwhelmed by everything happening and maybe all the tips and tricks I hear from everyone, and I don't know where to start. And you want to hear it from someone that has experience and that is more professional in this area to know that you're doing the right thing, you're going the right way.
Hmm.
So yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. Super
Yeah,
helpful.
of course. I love what you just said too. I went through the same thing. It was like somebody tell me what to do next, tell me what to do next, but nobody can tell you what you need to do next.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Take what you learn, maybe it's the tips and tricks, whoever you're following, take what you learn and turn it into what you do. Like just start trying it. If you see something you like,
Mm,
try it. Just try
mm,
it. If it doesn't work, you never have to do it again. You know?
yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. And I think we're gonna go towards our final questions now.
Ooh,
Um,
okay.
I was thinking of stopping these, but I'm still very curious. I'm gonna change them a little bit, but I'm curious. What are like three people that have inspired you a lot throughout your
Mm,
journey? It can be
mm.
more or less. It's three is just like a
Inspiration. My boyfriend, my partner, he is so intuitive, he doesn't know he's intuitive.
mm,
And he's just like a safe place. I don't think I would have been able to heal as much if I didn't have him showing me a different way.
yeah.
So he is a huge piece. My cousin, who is 16 years old and is probably one of the most mature people I've ever met, more mature than me when I was her age, and I was like a 30-year-old at 16. So um, she's very wise, and I have conversations like this with her, and she's
Mm,
only 16. Um, she's just amazing, and she's taught me to just be myself, and to, if I want to do something, to just do it. Like, she's been a huge part of who cares what other people think.
yeah.
So she really, and her and my boyfriend both make me feel like the person that I am is exactly who I'm supposed to be, and I don't need to hide that.
Mm,
And if there's somebody else, there's so many people. Mm, my dad.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That is like, he was always my best friend growing up, and it was just like unconditional love. And he was
Mm,
probably the only person I felt that from. And then until I met my boyfriend, he was the second person, which is probably why I feel so safe around them. But they're a huge inspiration for the kind of person I want to be for somebody else. And so
yeah.
having them so close to me and in my life is just like, I want to take and give back exactly what they're giving to other people.
Mm,
So, yeah. I
wow.
love that question.
Yeah, I love that answer. The thing that the
Thanks
reason
for
I'm asking, yeah, I'm sorry, the reason I'm asking this question is because I know that we are very shaped by the people around us.
hmm
And I know for some people asking this question, we go like the thought goes to Oprah, and for some people it comes to like family members and stuff. It's always interesting to see like what have inspired you in your journey because it's so different. Like
hmm
I believe that for some people, a big part of their journey could be their pet because it's
Yep.
always been like as a supportive, always that's something that helps them like center themselves. Like it could be whatever, but it's
Yep.
always different, and that's why I love hearing this
Mm,
question.
thank
Okay,
you.
so the next would be like if you have any advice for someone listening, what would that be? And you can take your time and think. It's not pressure, no pressure.
Yeah. This is a, hmm. I think the advice I would give anybody, whether you're whether you're 16, whether you're 19, whether you're 50, whether you're 60, um, is take your time when you're making decisions.
Mm,
Because, we talked a little bit about opportunities. It's, sorry, this is so funny. The themes of what we're talking about is like mirroring what my talk in Vegas is going to be, and it's just kind of like hitting me how woven into everything this is. But take your
yeah,
time when you're making decisions. Opportunities come all the time.
yeah.
Somebody can offer you something. You could get, 5 opportunities in a day. Maybe you can get one in a year. But
Mm,
every time an opportunity comes, you don't have to take them all.
yeah.
You get to choose. Don't forget, just because somebody's offering something to you doesn't mean you have to take it. Take your time and think about, is this actually something that I want? And that's, it wraps back into who am I? Because if you understand who you are and what you want in life, those decisions become easier. So
Mm,
really take your time, and before you make a decision, ask yourself if that decision is for you.
mm.
Yeah.
Wow. That is
Mm.
crazy because I feel like things are so like the synchronicity of things, like what you're saying too in my life, it's just so crazy because um for me, I thought that first when you said that answer, I was like, yeah, a lot of people would say like, no, go with your intuition, just like go for it, take the chances. But what you just said, like explaining that, made a lot of sense because I'm thinking about a specific person in my life right now that already feel pretty like burned out in their job and their life and wants a change. And then a change showed up, but that change is not the biggest change of what they already have. It's just kind of the same thing, but in a different area.
It just looks different.
And yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing. And like first the thought of like a change, that sounds amazing. That's what I need. I'm not good, like I'm not feeling great where I am right now. And then the thought of like, but wait, what is this opportunity actually like offering me? And
Mm-hmm.
then like thoughts started to come, and then I started realizing too, like, this is not the change you need. It's
Mm-hmm.
gonna come another change. It's gonna come another opportunity too. So even though the like appealing thought of like, wow, this opportunity came in, like it's really good to actually, like you say, think about it. Is
Mm-hmm.
this is this the change I need? And is this change gonna be for me, or is it just gonna be a change?
Yeah.
Because I think the answer could be very different if you actually start like reflecting on it, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, and I love what you added there about intuition. I am a strong, the reason I didn't go with that, because I'm a huge believer in trusting your intuition, is what I see
Mm.
is so many people today do not know how to differentiate their intuition from just something that they desire.
Yeah.
When you sit with it, your intuition is there. It's telling
Yeah.
you it's telling you what it wants, but sometimes because we're so influenced by what we think other people think we should do,
Mm.
we don't go with it. We kind of like we mute it, we silence it. So taking the time for me actually lets me sit and hear the intuition.
Yeah.
Intuition is like it's the first thing that you think of, but oftentimes it happens so quickly and we're so used to turning it off that if you make that decision in that moment, you will not be making it based on your intuition,
Yeah.
right? So when you give yourself that time, like also nothing in life is that urgent. Yeah, I gotta say, not like you don't have to make a decision right now. If it's truly meant for you, it'll be there, in 3 days or in 3 hours. So
Yeah.
whoever is asking you for this, if it's out of urgency, I don't know. I would definitely take more time to think about it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I actually agree a lot about that, especially about the intuition part that we we have learned to suppress it. So today it's super hard to like to actually realize, is this my intuition or not?
Hmm.
And you can work on that. You can actually improve that by, like you're saying, like sitting with it and starting to like listening to your intuition more, because when you start doing that, it's going to show up more as well. So yeah, thank you for like adding that as well. It's great. Um, Now I would just like love for you to share, like, for everyone who's seen you now and feel like, wow, this Anna person is someone I want to see more of. Where can they see more of you?
They can see more of me on my Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can add it in is there gonna be notes?
Yes, we're gonna add it in the description as well.
Yeah, it's at the.coach.ana.
Yeah,
Like I said, I took a little bit of time off, but don't worry, there's lots of stuff there you can check out, and there will be more.
yeah.
And also, if they want to see me, if they live in Vegas, they can come see me on September
Yeah.
26th.
I was actually gonna ask about that because maybe someone is from Vegas or around there and would love to
Hmm.
come. Please share a little bit, just like what are you gonna talk about there, so
Ooh.
someone can actually, yeah,
Yes. Well, okay, this is interesting because this chat that we're having right now is very synonymous with some of the points that I touch on. I just
yeah,
go a little bit more in depth and explain they're all so intertwined.
mm,
And I think what you're going to see in Vegas is how connected everything you're going through in life really is, and how many other people are actually going through it at the same time. When you have a room of 500 people and you're telling a story that resonates, you can feel everybody's, I don't know, I always think that we have these glowing colors around us, but it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's like this big ball of light.
Yeah.
But you can feel it. It's like energy. So there's going to be lots of that. It's not just me. There's 9 other speakers, and they're bringing their experience and their stories. We all come from different backgrounds. We all share our experience, and it's beautiful. It's a business, influence, and technology. Those are the 3 pillars. So if you're an entrepreneur or you're somebody who is feeling like they need a little bit more inspiration, and it's I can't say enough good things about what I've seen so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, my talk is called How Letting Go of Everything I Knew Brought Me Exactly What I Needed.
Mm. Wow. Wow, I love that.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
sounds amazing. And like if anyone wants to know more about this, they can just find you on your Instagram and DM you, and I
absolutely.
guess you can just share more information or the link.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a link pinned to my profile as well. It's called The
Yeah.
Power of Voice. There's a whole website just for the event as well. But yeah, shoot me a DM and check out the pinned link post.
Yeah.
It's a post. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, Anna. I love this conversation. I've been missing having my conversations with you, and this
I
felt just
know.
like them.
Yeah. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for having me too and inviting me to be a part of this.
Yes,
I
of
love it.
course. I'm glad you said yes. This
Of
was very
course.
impactful. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much.
Okay. And thank you to everyone watching. I'm so grateful that you stuck with us for this whole time, and I'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Okay.